back.
Yeah, if you need it.
Yeah, no training alternate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It is.
It is tough.
Keep going, guys.
I was sneaking in, the camera was running, and I thought I could record a little bit.
We can speak very well.
Secret stuff, but
What a trade match.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next NSL live talk. We had a little secret introduction here, obviously. Camera was running already. Mr. Jeremie Rollett, thank you for coming. Coach of the Qatar Falcons. Gary Smith, coach of the Qatar Tigers and Hayabusa. And a little surprise we have here, Mr. Drew Starr, team captain of the Golden Knights. And Drew, you're just coming back from Spain.
Yeah, from winning
yesterday.
games.
You were in Spain yesterday.
Got him last night. Yeah, got him last night.
Are you tired?
No, I'm great.
He doesn't know where he is.
No, it's a dream come true, right? Like from the Windor down to Z Hills for a training camp to jump. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So glad to be back with the Golden Knights and start meet-away training.
And there's so many things going on. I don't really know where to begin talking and what we can cover and all that. Let's begin with, you are actually a rhythm member and you were watching Hayabusa, Gary's team, in live at the window. How did they do? What did they look like?
I mean, they did all right. You know, we beat them on one round, so you gotta own that one. But no, they're just. I mean, everybody knows they're incredible competitors and they're incredible people, and it's great to go and fight against them, and then be friends throughout the whole thing. So it's a really good learning experience, especially for us as rhythm with our first competition together as a lineup as Team USA. We kind of went there to learn as much about each other as we were going to learn about Hayabusa when it comes time to fight for the Omni Sword.
How are the double duties going so far?
Well, we're just into the start of the double duties, so we're just starting our first 8-way camp. Our first 8-way training jump since nationals. We took a pretty long break and kind of did a good reset there, and I think we're pretty primed to start the season.
And we are in Zephyr Hills, home of Skydive City, host of the Shamrock Showdown and the USB Nationals this year. This is where everybody is staying. It's my hotel in the conference room, except for Jeremie. You are located somewhere else, a different hotel.
Yeah.
How are the Falcons doing? How's the 8-way business?
We restarted the first camp this year, and we get back the original lineup because we had the change last year. So for the last 6 months, the team did not the best, but now we expect the best result again. So we are working hard to reduce the gap with the top team.
Yeah, it was time for Aziz, right?
Yes, Aziz came back after a stop of 6 months, and the alternate didn't practice too much 8-way. So for the last 6 months we restarted with the basic to help him to improve, but now it looks better. So let's see in Shamrock what we can do.
Yeah, at the Shamrock you will try to beat the Golden Knights, right? Are you ready?
No, I don't know yet. I'm just happy with what I see in the training, and it looks better, faster, a little bit, and consistent. So, but I can't say anything about the ranking in Shamrock.
You will still be overlapping a little bit here with your time. The Falcons here, Golden Knights here for another week or two, I guess.
2 weeks.
Are you looking at each other? Is it all secret? No,
No, I don't think there's any secrets. Especially with great coaching. I don't think there's any real secrets there. So I think at the end of the day, it's just gonna come down to training and time together and a good 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Gary has some 8-way history too, and you're out of it now because you're back to 4-way. But you are the predecessor, right? For Jeremie with the Falcons.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about breaking news from Russia. Andrei Barabash broke his leg.
Yes.
What's the Russian situation now in 8-way?
I think Jeremie might know a little bit more updated information, but I heard from the people that went to the IPC meeting in Moscow that Andre had a landing accident in Dubai, apparently. Training jump, landing accident. And we heard he was out for 2 to 3 months. Now I heard more, but now it sounds like 2 months. So unfortunately for them, Andre is out the 8-way, but the big decision will be, do they keep him out or does he come back in? And I think there's only 6 months left before we are in Russia, 6.5, and then we are in Russia. So it'll be very critical for the Russians and on their decision making. What do they do? Does Andre come back into the team or does he stay out?
And they probably have the best alternate, most experienced
Yes.
8-way alternate that anybody has ever had with Alexei Minayev. You know him for
Yeah. And for Andre, it's always a sad news because they get a long-term project for the last 3 years. They were so close of their world meet, home world meet.
Yeah.
So we expect them the best.
And they won the US Nationals, they won the World Cup. So you have to, I think, weigh up. I don't know if how involved Craig is still with the coaching, but eventually it's going to have to become a decision of what is the best for the team for the Mondial.
But you're right, it's heartbreaking, right? I mean, imagine you in that situation. Now you're putting all your efforts, all your resources and everything into it. And then, just at the most critical time.
Yes.
We didn't get it in France for the open team, but for the female team, in France for 2012, we bring Sophie at the last moment, and finally we won. So.
And then Sophie in 2016 in round 10 or whatever it was.
Yeah. So it's it depends. Yes, if they have a good alternate, very experienced guy, it could be okay. And they have one. So.
Yeah, they have it just like I said, it depends on what they do once Andre is fit to jump again. If he's fit and what do they do? The decision will be huge for Russia.
French team is a good topic. Maybe Jeremie knows a little bit about the French 8-way team. Come on, tell us a little bit about the French 8-way team.
You saw as me in the World Cup. How they did great job. So I think they'll keep going for the next 6 months. I think they restart this week in France with outdoor training, because as you know, in France in February it's very good weather. and so with a little bit luck they can jump. So they will be strong.
Yeah, the south of France is beautiful, and it is. Well, they're coming too for the Shamrock Showdown, right? So we have all the 8-way teams here. With the Russian team, we don't know 100% yet. I hear rumors that they're canceling the Shamrock, but then we don't know really. I have had no confirmation about anything yet. You can only hope, that they will send the team with Alexei Minayev, because they need to use the alternate anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping full-heartedly that they are still coming.
I think we all are. It would be great if they come.
Hayabusa topic. Below their highest average at the Wing Games, the rhythm team record average with a new lineup. Arizona airspeed record average with a new lineup. Are you scared?
Very. No, I think Hayabusa, we discussed it before. They trained for 4.5, 5 hours for that meet. And in those 5 hours, if you saw the training, it was very unrealistic. They trained 30 minutes straight with no rotations. And 30 minutes in, 30 minutes out, no rotations.
Did they do free flying in between? Or?
I tried, but I was terrible. and they will tell you that. No, so there was nothing. They were it's incredible, nothing. Luke was not there. So they trained, that was their training.
And indoor training, I mean, you in the chamber.
No, that's what I'm talking about. It was terrible. It was terrible.
That's why I want to see it.
So I was impressed at their stamina, their focus, because we had jumps on the board and I was just pointing and they kept flying. And they would sit on the net a little bit and they would keep flying, 30 minutes straight. And then they would come out, 30-minute break and get straight back in for 2.5 hours in one day. And then the next day I think we stopped at 1.5 hours and then they did some free flying for 30 minutes. So that was the training. That was the training leading up to. And then at Win Games, of course, they were there. I think they had 1 hour split into before. So they were underprepared. But at the end of the day, we all know that when I think when they're in trouble, there's a calmness that comes into the team. The focus gets up and they go. And to be honest, when I saw the last round and I saw it was 3 randoms and a block 3, then for me, even if they were behind in that round, it would never be over.
Yeah, we know that
The block 3 is so fast, and with the randoms, they're quick.
Yeah.
But having said that, to go back to it, I think these guys did fantastic. I was shocked after the first day that they were only 3 points behind airspeed,
yeah.
and then the second day and third day they were had a little bit tougher. It was more technical. I watched that Tybus and I said, don't worry, but more technical the last couple of rounds. Airspeed did great. Hats off to the new guys, to Nicholas and Mikhail for flying with them, but they did 20 something hours. And I think in a tunnel with that level, 20 hours is a lot, you know. So I think they were ready for the meet. And yes, but first time performance, record average, amazing. So to Drew as well, I congratulated him today, but very, very good. Good to see.
Yeah, and that's how much have you trained with the new lineup?
So I think so far since mid-December, I've done about 7 hours of tunnel and 100 jumps with rhythm. So we definitely learned a lot about our process at Windor at the Wind Games this year. You know, we kind of learned where we need to change or hone in or think about different phases of competition, not so much the block technique or the 4-way theory, but how we approach the competition, how we stay mentally tough, how we have some of that calmness that Gary talked about when we have an important round on the line. And I think that was one of the most important things we could take away from Windor was how we compete together and how we look at each phase of the competition and places that we can get better as far as the process of competing, not just block technique and engineering.
And you said that you have discussed things already about 4-way and now with Gary in China anyway. It was interesting to...
Yeah, we were lucky to spend, well, we were lucky. I don't know if Gary felt the same way, but to spend a lot of downtime at CISM in China with Gary. And so we got to pick his brain about training plans and how different teams train and how the Golden Knights have always trained in the past. And we kind of realized that the Golden Knights we were kind of stuck, in a bygone era where we would just throw a bunch of jumps at the wall and train 5 days a week and just go all year long. But technology and coaching and the sport has evolved that you don't need that. And we actually kind of come to the realization that trying to make 1,200 jumps in a year is probably does as much harm as it does help. So we tried to restructure the Golden Knight training in a more kind of scientific and proven way, at least with the age of wind tunnels and the way the sport has evolved, and we're really excited to see that come to fruition. Jen Davidson and Jesse Starr are kind of the architects of that program for us, and we're very, very excited.
Yeah, we speak with them.
Yeah. We're very excited to
Mm-hmm.
to execute the plan that they've come up with.
Jeremie, you are a 4-way world champion. Well, what do you see going on in 4-way? You're coaching 8-way now. You're 8-way world champion too, so you can do both. But what do you see going on in 4-way? Technology, team dynamics, everything. You're observing it still, or you get?
Yeah, from outside now, but you are right. All the tools must be used. So all the things can help the team. You have to use it for the mental and for the team spirit. And yes, it's true, it's working well, because after 7 hours together to perform the highest average for the team, it means it's very efficient training, even in general.
And there are so many physical differences too. I mean, just size-wise, they had to completely change their visuals and their input, I guess, and all that. Gary, you know more about that,
Yeah, I mean, I listened to the one interview where Doug was saying all of a sudden he had to slot Drew and so yes, that would have been an adjustment, different piece partner. I think the front pair had no problems with maybe some slight differences, but the piece partnering. But I also think Doug is maybe happier to have Drew in there with him than Jeanette. It's a different thing. When Jeanette, maybe he could not fly as aggressive. I haven't seen enough. I haven't seen the jumping side of it. But hats off in the tunnel. I mean, I've seen him fly live, not in wind games, but he can fly. and then again, it doesn't matter your size. You know, if you can fly and stop at that speed, then I think it can be done. I mean, Craig Gerard was a classic example of how a tall guy could keep that generation going. You know, could keep it going. We kind of got out of it when tunnels came about. That was the end of me as being a tall guy, but Craig kept it going. And I think Sean, Golden Knights, Drew,
Right.
they can fly. There's
You
nothing
know
wrong with
Jennifer?
Yeah. Yeah.
The difference cannot be much more
Yeah,
different than
so to go back to it, I think what Drew has done, what Rhythm has done, and in no disrespect to Jeanette, is that they brought in somebody new with a lot of enthusiasm. He's a good flyer. It's almost a honeymoon in that group right now. So they want to train. Where if you keep that same thing, which we have in the Tigers, we have the same guys for 10 years. My job as a coach is to motivate them. So every time they come to the drops and they want to jump. And it's always easier. And Hayabusa will have the same when Dave steps out and Mikey steps in. Then all of a sudden, they'll go, well, it's something different faces in the aeroplane, different pictures in free fall. You want to see that again. But when you have that same monotony, it's difficult. It's difficult to keep yourself motivated. And I think that's a big advantage, that Rhythm have right now. Because they've got Drew, and whether it was Jeanette stepping out or Steve or anybody else, to bring in somebody else with his enthusiasm, wanting to learn, the personality that he has of, he's not scared to make a mistake or accept that he's making a mistake, makes a big difference into team dynamics and team spirit.
It truly makes a visual difference. You know, when I watched the rounds at the Wind Games, not only the jumpsuit, but just the size, it's a completely different visual. It's not rhythm any longer. I mean, it is rhythm, but it looks different. So very interesting. Well, we'll have the big showdown between the Qatar Tigers and Rhythm coming up pretty soon, right? At the Shamrock, the first really outdoor showdown. That'll be even more exciting now.
Yeah, and I think maybe, maybe SP will also be jumping. I don't know what their plans are, but they're all here. Well, Nicholas and Mikhail will be here with the H-way, the XP H-way. So maybe SP also jumps.
That would make a lot of sense. I
And
mean,
we
if
have
get
the
permission from the H-way team.
And we have the French.
Right.
The French forward. So in a way, it's without Hayabusa, it would be it's a fantastic
They would be
mini
sorry.
meet that we
They
have.
would be so sorry that they're not coming.
That's what I tell them.
Well, they followed carefully. They're leaving just a week before the
Yes.
Shamrock begins, right?
Yeah. But straight after the Shamrock, straight after the Shamrock, they're training in Algarve. They go to Portugal. So that it just doesn't fit into their schedule.
Yeah, no, we all talked about this before. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But it's exciting. So at least we will see that, you know, the new rhythm lineup and the Tigers, which will. I just figured it out by the numbers. You know that they were separated of all the 2019 scores. I think I posted world rankings last week, and they were 1/10 of a point after all meets away from each other. So that's pretty exciting. That was the old rhythm lineup.
So the pressure's on Drew.
Well, now that they have a new record average at the first
We're in
meet,
trouble.
the pressure's back on the other guy. So
We like pressure.
Yeah, and the airspeed also extremely impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. I think that was the talk of the Wind Games, was obviously airspeed and rhythm. I mean, we kind of all knew that Hayabusa was going to win it, but I'm talking from my side, but it was a case of what are the other two teams doing? And then after the first couple of rounds, I think, not that Hayabusa got a shock, but it was a case of they thought, hey, we have to focus on this meet. It's not going to be as easy as we thought. And that's kind of hats off to both airspeed and rhythm.
And the Falcons will be the underdog in 8-way. Can you imagine? Now you're going at a 20 average or something, and you are, let's say with Golden Knights, you're at a meet, you will be the underdog.
Yeah.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's incredible.
The level of competition at the moment.
And it's good for the 8-way
Yes.
event.
Yeah, that's what, from the outside now, for me, I think it's fantastic for the sport.
It used to be a 19 or 20 average could win you a world meet.
Yeah.
You know?
It has.
Yeah,
that's
now
all right.
let's hope Russia comes through, and then obviously XP have been training, I'm guessing, so they'll be strong, and then you've got the Knights and the Falcons, so I think it's amazing Shamrock to watch.
Double duties. You are also experienced with that. You witnessed it at least. The French WDs, 4-way, 8-way. They want to win 2 gold medals, 8-way and 4-way women. You were in the middle of WDs, not yourself, but when Mathieu won.
Yeah, we did
4-way.
as well for 2008.
Can it be done? Oh, you
Yeah.
did it in 2008
Yeah,
with the whole team.
Mathieu did it.
You missed it by 1 point or so in the
Yeah,
match,
yeah,
right?
no.
You-
But
I
it's
keep
happened,
forgetting about that.
it's happened in Spain as well, 2001, with airspeed.
Yeah.
Right.
So many teams tried and many teams were close, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's.
But then you have to say it will be in 4-way women this year. So it's not really.
Yeah, I
it's a
don't
little-
want to shout it down, but I don't think I could compare it.
You
Yeah.
cannot. I don't think you would be able
Because
to.
I think
really
the
compare.
female don't really even have to train in a way, and they're going to be
Much,
competitive. But if you didn't train and you're up against Hayabusa, you're in big trouble.
But there is pressure now from NFTO.
For the French, yes.
For the
Yes,
French.
yeah, but I didn't say they win or lose, but they'll be competitive.
Yeah.
But I think in the open class, if you don't train, if you make 100 jumps, you're going to struggle to get the podium. Is I think the way that it's going. So as much as I like the French girls, I spoke to Clementine a little bit. I stayed at Dennis and Clementine's house, and we discussed 4-way and 8-way, and I think it's the training is the tough part, where they have to train. But I know they are doing less 4-way than what you would do if you really what Mathieu had to do. He had to train 8-way hard, and straight from the 8-way he had to train 4-way hard, where you couldn't. There's no shortcuts on one discipline. You had to train hard for both. And I think right now for the girls, they're training 8-way, and then the 4-way they will put some training and then go and then they attacking the gold.
You'll be in the same situation at the Shamrock at least.
Yeah. It'll be my own little world, mate.
Only one rhythm member is gonna do 4-way and 8-way, and it will be the same like at Wobby. You have to shift back between 4-way and 8-way. It's not like at USB Nationals where they are separated by 2 days. First all 4-way, then all 8-way. At World Cups, World Meets, it's all on the same day. You start with 4-way, then switch to 8-way, or the other way around. So good luck.
You don't meet directly. You can make it tough. one round.
6 a.m., 6 p.m.
Long days, long days. Well, you know too how it goes. Have you ever done double duties? Yeah.
With in Chicago, the US Nationals, yes, but we jumped 8-way and 4-way.
We did it together in 1996.
Yes, in
In Belgium.
Yeah. But we weren't that good.
We did both. We did 4 double duties.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's fun to do it. I think the competition is easier than the training. And in a way, we did not train much 8-way. With equanimity, we had trained some double stuff with Delayed Magic. We had an 8-way going as well with some stuff. But I think at the end of the day, to go and compete, I would rather compete in both than to train in both.
Yeah, and at the big competitions, it's only 2 or 3 rounds usually on one day. So
And
it's
then,
a little bit
yeah.
easier. Not at the Shamrock. Be ready for.
Yeah. Well, see, this whole time I thought it was like nationals. I thought it was 8-way and then.
No. Well, it will be not. It doesn't go like 4-way,
Yeah.
4-way, 8-way. It's like 4-way package, 5 rounds,
Oh,
ideally,
okay.
and then 8-way package. So it will be separated,
Oh.
but it's on the same day at least.
And if the Golden Knights are doing well, then you just give it.
You're talking to an interaction.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about money, right?
There's some collusion going on.
All right, let's that be enough. We could do this for hours now because there's so much going on and so much to talk about. But I guess everybody's hungry and thirsty, and we don't want to bore the audience for too long, right? No, we're not. I know that, but let's leave it here. And I'll be back anyway. Rowan Hayabusa is coming, and we want to talk about more Golden Night stuff.
Yeah.
And you're leaving soon? No, you'll be here
2
for
weeks,
2 weeks. Okay, we'll see each other again.
And see you in March.
Merci
Yeah.
beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't know what it is in
Yeah.
Belgium.
Dankjewel.
Danke.
It's Dutch. Dankjewel.
Goodbye.